Hi guys, welcome to Yusuf Science and Math class. Today we are going to learn about vectors, and this is part 2. In last video we learned about coordinate systems, definitions and examples of scalars, and definitions of vectors. Definition and examples of vectors. And today we're going to learn about vector mathematics. So there are big two methods to do vector mathematics. First one is using by components. So there is a vector A, and in the coordinate system there should be AX and AY. And we can find AX as A cosine theta and AY as A sine theta. On the other hand, we can also find the vector A by using AX and AY. And the tangent theta is also AY divided by AX. And you have to remember that X and Y vectors act independently, so they do not affect each other's. So let's get an example. A projectile is launched with an initial velocity of 10 meters per second at an angle of 53 above the horizontal. Determine the x and y component vectors of the velocity. Okay, if you're not finished, please stop this video and resume your work. This is the answer. The answer of the angle of the 53 indicates 3 to 4 to 5 triangle. So we can find Vx as a third-fifth of hypotenuse, which is third-fifth of 100, which is 600 meters per second. And since this is the vector, we have to indicate the direction, which is plus x direction. For Vy, it is fourth-fifth hypotenuse, which is 4 feet times 100. And as a result, it's 80 meters per second and plus y direction. Another method of adding vector is tip to tail method. First, choose the direction of first vector and draw it starting from the original and pointing in the correct directions. Start drawing the tail of the next vector at the tip of the previous vector. Keep the orientation of the second vector the same as it was given in the question. Add any remaining vectors to the tip of each subsequent vector and draw the resultant vector from the origin. As the picture below, if you add two vectors tip to tail, or for start to end, you get the resultant vector. Oh, and for example, an object moves 20 meters in the positive x direction and then moves 20 meters in the positive y direction. Determine the magnitude and direction of the object displacement. Here's the answer. So the components and resultant form 45, 45, 90 degree triangle because it's one horizontal, one vertical. As a result, it's root 2 plus side, which means it's root 2 times 20, and probably you don't need to get a numeric value of root 2, and theta as 45 degrees. And last method is quite the same as the tip to tail, but it's worth knowing because there are some very few questions that is only like it will be better to solve as a parallelogram method. But as we can see, put the origin of the vectors in the same position and use the same orientation and make the parallelogram and make to the diagonal side. So let's get ending vector examples. Three forces act on a mass as shown below. Determine the magnitude of force F. F is at an angle of 45 above the horizontal. So the resultant force acting on the mass is 0. Please stop this video to work, but I will just give answers right now. Since resultant have to be 0, all of the vector F's components have to match with force with opposite direction. Therefore, Fx has to match with 8 Newton and Fy has to match with 6 Newton. Therefore, Fx equals 8 Newton, Fy equals 6 Newton. And like I said before, if we have both components Fx and Fy, we can get force F, which is root of x squared plus 6 squared, which is 10 Newton. And the theta, as mentioned in the question, is 45 degrees. And that's it for today. And thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe and like. If you have any questions, please write them in comments. And I will see you next time. Bye.